bye weeks are here. The injuries are stacking up. This is what this show was made for. I won't speak for Sam, but I've been on an ultra hot streak over the last 2 weeks.
You have.
I've hit on 5 of 6, including Woody marks last week. And if not for a dropped ball at the goal line, Adonai Mitchell would have been a total smash for me as well. I'm still taking the W on that one, by the way.
But, yeah, sure. I don't blame you. Blame you. And you know, I've been on a hot streak. It's just that my hot streak comes like a week early. Like I'm like, yeah, this guy's gonna blow up this week, and then he does nothing. And then the next week blows the top off the place.
Well, I'm pretty sure you were getting the hits in week 1 and 2, and I was like over 6. So we've kind of flip-flopped that. But let's keep it going. Sam and I have 6 more sleepers for you tonight. Then we'll take a few of your questions before wrapping things up with our, of course, flaming hot, bold predictions at the end of the show. Sam,
flaming hot, sponsored by Cheetos.
Let's kick it off with you. Who's your first sleeper for week 5?
My first sleeper for week 5 is going to be, but now you know I always got to bring a tight end. And usually I save them for last. I'm not doing that this week. I'm going right for it, man. It's going to be Theo Johnson from the New York Giants. Second-year guy, had an okay season last year, about 300 something yards, et cetera, et cetera. This year he's only got 9 catches for 66 yards, but he is averaging over 7 a catch, which is nice. And then last week, after Neighbors went down, and this is the important part, after Neighbors went down, Theo went 3 catches. It's only 7 yards, but he was looked for in the red zone. That was his 5th red zone target of the young season. You know, there's what's on Mad Dog? There's an opportunity there. Because I don't know how much faith you can put in Slayton. And we already saw earlier this year that they're tinkering with routes for Wandale, so he's not only running close to the line, which means it's Theo in the short range area. You know, especially over the middle. And we know Dart's a rookie, and I hate the cliche, the tight end is a rookie's best friend. It depends on who the quarterback is and who the tight end is. But nevertheless, when you're first, I mean, this is going to be his second game. And, you know, if you don't have time to run through all your reads, you look at the first guy you see is the guy standing right in the middle of the field, like 10 yards away from you. So I think Theo could really, I think he stands to benefit almost more than anybody from the Neighbors injury, aside from perhaps the running game as a whole. But you know, I think his athleticism, you know, he's 6'6", 6'6", checks in at 264 pounds. He's a big target. He's exactly what you want in a red zone target. And obviously that's shown because no matter who the quarterback was, he got red zone targets. He's got one in every game, 2 and 1. I do want to do a twofer. Am I allowed to do that, Alex?
You know, I've done that a few times, and you've always called me out saying it's cheating, but I'll let you do it.
Oh, okay. My twofer, and I'm not going to bore you with the stats because there aren't many. But it is Darren Waller in Miami. It is because Tyreek Hill's down. It is because Waddle has injury issues. It is because Tua Tagovailoa can't throw the ball anymore. A chain is going to be, I think, the biggest beneficiary there. And I know people are looking at Malik Washington and Westbrook Akine to possibly fill in those gaps, and they could be serviceable for sure. I mean, they're not going to be Tyreek Hill, but Waller he's one of those things. He's still only rostered, I think, in about 58% of leagues. So there's a lot of leagues he's still out there, and there's a lot of people that don't have very much depth on a bench. And as my buddy Mad Dog said last night, so many people are banking on a touchdown-dependent tight end. If that's the case, then I don't see why you wouldn't bank on the one that just caught 2 in his first game in over a year. So I think Waller needs to be rostered at the very least as a stash. But if you're, wavering between guys like, I don't know, Schultz or, either of the guys in Seattle, although I love AJ Barner, there are certainly people that Waller should be starting over. You can't believe all the projections you see on the page because some sites have him projected really low. That doesn't take into account the fact that he was looked for in the red zone twice. So those are my 2 tight ends. If you need a tight end, get one of these guys.
Yeah, I mean it's everybody needs. I mean, there's a lot of people need tight ends this week. And I'll have one for you a little bit later as well. But when you told me you were doing Theo Johnson, he just missed the cut for my list. I was gonna do Theo. I almost did him. I chose somebody else instead. But I like him. I mean, he benefited right away from one, the quarterback change, Jackson Dart, but also Malik Neighbors being out. He had a 24% target share last week.
Yeah, that's huge. For a tight end, that's great.
Yes, that is like elite level for tight ends, unless you're talking like, Trey McBride, Brock Bowers level.
Right.
So, yeah, I do. I like that. And you can't go wrong with, Darren Waller, 2 touchdowns in his first game. I'll tell you, I made a lot of jokes about Darren Waller coming back. He looked kind of good out there.
Who knew?
He looked athletic. I don't know if the year off maybe helped him. I mean, he began as like an ultra athlete, so even at his advanced age, he hasn't lost. He's lost a little bit, but it's enough to where he's, still high-end athlete. So I like this call.
Yeah, Waller's. Yeah, he's like the very prototype of a hyper athletic tight end.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was one of the first ones that came out and you were like, what position is he? Because he's huge, but boy, he can run and cut.
Well, when he began his career as a wide receiver on the Ravens practice squad, he was a wide receiver. He made the change to tight end when he went to the Raiders.
Yeah, and Gruden loved him.
Yeah, well, can see why. All right, let me give you my first sleeper tonight. We're going to go to the running back position, and I'm going to give you a little, how much I love handcuff running backs. This is a guy, you could have been stashing to this point, Rico Dowdle. The Panthers, obviously, are going to be without starting running back Chuba Hubbard this week, which means Rico Dowdle is going to assume bell cow duties in that backfield. We saw Rico Dowdle in that same role last year with the Cowboys. He ran for over 1,000 yards. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry, caught 40 passes. He was RB24 in fantasy points per game. He had 10 games where he played at least 50% of the snaps. And in those 10 games, He finishes RB10 or better 4 times, and he was outside the top 24 just twice. So that's 80% of the time as a top 24 running back when he's playing at least 50% of the snaps for Rico Dowdle. Now, he's already been working his way, a little bit more into the Panthers offense over the last couple of weeks. Over the last 2, he's had 21 touches, 68 total yards, and a touchdown playing alongside Chuba Hubbard. He was the RB23 against the Falcons in week 3. Now he gets a Dolphins defense that has allowed the 8th most fantasy points per game to running backs through the first 4 weeks. I have Rico Dowdle ranked as my RB19 this week, ahead of Quinshon Judkins, ahead of David Montgomery, ahead of J.K. Dobbins even, and Tony Pollard as well. So I am in on Rico Dowdle. He's only rostered in 48% of Yahoo leagues. He's available in more than half of leagues right now, still to this point. You can go, maybe he's available in your league, scoop him up, plug and play.
I like that, but I'm gonna go on the same team, and I'm gonna go rookie. I think Trevor Etienne actually has the better game of the 2. Dowdle has been obviously Dowdle's getting the start, so you defer to him. I guess what I'm saying is, if somebody else has got him and you're still desperate, I think Etienne is worth a play. You've got Dowdle, whose yards per carry, he just hasn't been very efficient this year. And for all the talk of taking the bell cow role, I mean, Hubbard was averaging less than 14 carries a game. So, unless you can do a lot with a little volume, then I'm not really a fan. And Dowdle got a lot of volume last year. So they were able to wait through, getting stuffed a couple times, and then the payoff is, on that 5th time when you bust one open for, 15, 20 yards. So I'm not slagging Dowdle at all. I think the 2 will coexist. And I think, I just think as a coaching staff, they're going to come at this as a 2-headed monster. And they can both catch passes, so I can't point to one or the other as being the better pass catcher. There is something in me that just thinks, for a lot of last year, not unlike Pollard the year before, we did a lot of talking bad about Rico Dowdle. And then next thing you knew, he went over 1,000 yards. You know what I mean? But he just didn't look good, and he wasn't very inspiring. So I have trouble getting past that. Just not my analyst mind, but my football mind has trouble getting past that. But I think the 2 will coexist, and I think it's a coin flip as to which one has a better game. I think they might go hot hand, the dreaded hot hand in fantasy. So I'm rolling with the rookie.
All right. So somebody from that Panthers backfield is going to have success. It's a great matchup. It's a great matchup. Maybe they both get a little bit.
I think they both can, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. We might turn around after the game and they both ran for 50 yards and a touchdown. You know?
I mean, Etienne's he's probably a perfect complement to Rico Dowdle. He's where you got Dowdle, he's on the bigger side, a little bit more between the tackles. Where we get Trevor Etienne, he's 198 pounds. He's got, he runs in the low 4.4s, like 4.42 or something. So he's got a little bit more juice to him. So it could be kind of a fun backfield. And I'm hoping, as somebody who does roster a decent bit of Chuba Hubbard, I'm hoping that nobody from this backfield plays too well in his absence. Because I want him to jump right back into that bell cow role. Otherwise, because he needs that volume. Otherwise, those shares are toast. But we'll come to
Yeah,
that issue when we get to it.
you have no idea how hard it was for me to do ETN, because as you know, I am against that family. Because I can't stand Trevor Etienne. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't stand Travis Etienne, and I don't think Trevor is as good as Travis is. But still, I'm throwing my weight on this endorsement this week.
While you were talking, I was really thinking, like, this guy is making the case for an ETN, really?
I wouldn't even go to her house for dinner.
All right. Well, let's head to Isaiah Bond's house for dinner, and I think he's a little sneaky sleeper over in London tomorrow morning. Still only rostered in 6% of leagues. So this was a guy who's kind of an interesting prospect coming out of Texas. He wasn't, someone I was really hugely into. He was kind of my ETN. I mean, I wasn't really big on Isaiah Bond coming out, but he was viewed as a potential day 2 pick before, some off the field stuff caused him to go undrafted. And remember, he said he was going to break Xavier Worthy's 40 time with the combine, and he didn't come even close. I think I lost a lot of respect.
He didn't even sniff it.
I think that's where I lost a lot of respect for him. He ended up like a 4.43. But he's still a fast guy, has some talent. Now he's going to be playing in a pretty big role in the Browns offense. Remember, he didn't sign with the Browns until late in the preseason. I think it was like August 18th where he signed. But he still somehow, as a rookie, missed all the training camp. He still found a way to work his way onto the field into a role that has grown week over week early in the season. He started with a 23% route participation in week 1. That went up to 38% in week 2, jumped to 61% in week 3, and last week went all the way up to 71% in week 4. And his target shares on those same weeks have gone 2%, 6%, 11%, and 17%. That same ladder, the role is just growing week over week. Last week's 17% target share was good for 6 targets, which he turned into 3 catches for 58 yards. Now, Cedric Tillman is out, which means Isaiah Bond could be in a full-time role in the Browns offense. Now, of course,
I think he has to be.
He's going to. I mean, the way they've been ramping up his usage with Cedric Tillman, you take Cedric Tillman out of that equation, I think we just naturally get, a full-time role for Bond. Now, of course, the quarterback situation is an obvious concern here, but maybe the move to Dylan Gabriel will be an upgrade. Who knows? I have no idea. And I also say the matchup against the Vikings really isn't ideal either, but the role should be there. The game script should be negative, forcing the Browns to throw more in comeback mode. So if I need a sneaky wide receiver or a flex play with some upside that's available in 94% of leagues, I'm throwing a darts at Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, once again, we were on the same page on this one too, because I wanted Bond before you told me you were doing him. And again, yeah, somebody knew something that fans didn't know, because he didn't really do anything of note in college. Like he was not even like just sort of good. He was just like there, the stats are not amazing at all. It's not like he ever went over 1,000 yards, or I don't even think he went over 800. And yet all the scouts were like, this dude's for real. Like, as far as his athleticism, especially. And dare I say it, I'm hearkening back to another receiver who did virtually nothing in college, came in with a lot of talk about his athletic ability, who also played for the Browns. named Josh Gordon, who is one of the great what ifs of the NFL in the last several decades, because he just no one could cover him. No one could cover him. I'm not saying Bond is going to be Gordon, but I'm saying the similarities are just uncanny. You know what I mean? As far as what they've done, they've come in with little fanfare. They both had off the field troubles. Both of them are extremely athletically gifted. And you're like, what's this guy going to do? Until he goes out there and does it. And then you're like, oh.
I had the pleasure of, or maybe displeasure of, watching Josh Gordon in person one time tear up my Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
He took like a catch and run like 80 yards. I think Jason Campbell was the quarterback. So, yeah, I would not make that comparison like you did.
We lost you there for a second, Alex.
Yeah, I've noticed my internet's been kind of funky tonight.
You said he took a catch. What?
He took a catch 80 yards for a touchdown against my Patriots. But I wouldn't make.
Well, I saw him do his fair share of damage to Cincinnati too, because that was when we were even worse.
Yeah. All right. Who is your third and final?
My third and final, and I am so glad. I'm so glad that I get to finally say his name and actually have it be possible. My boy and yours.
No. Don't group me into this.
My boy, Kendre Miller from the New Orleans Saints. And this will tell you something right here. I was going to do 2 Saints this week. And I had to settle on one so that people didn't think I was nuts and turn off the computer. And I settled on Kendre. He has always been one of my favorites. I've wanted him to do well. Under the last coaching staff, he was permanently in the doghouse. That's when he even was healthy, which was few and far between. He was not healthy often. This year, 5 carries, 5 carries, 7 carries, 11 carries. His snap percentage has gone up actually between 3 and 4. I think it went down like 1%, but it's gone up every time since week 1. What is also especially notable about that is Alvin Kamara, who we've talked about before. He's never run for 1,000 yards. Never. I mean, he's been in the league since 2017. Never run for 1,000 yards. So where does he make his money? He makes his money through the air. And his share, his target share this year is all the way down to 11%. For him, that is astronomically low, which tells me there's a change of thinking in New Orleans. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they think they're going to win if they make this sort of change. But I do think that there is credence to the idea of Kamara eventually being traded. I do think there is credence to the fact that they want to protect him so that they can trade him. And, you know, coincidentally, all of a sudden, Kendre Miller is getting a lot more run between the tackles. Last week, it was 11 for 65 and a touchdown. That's 12 points. Have you flexed him 12 points on your bench? I mean, how great would that be? And he's available in umpteen amount of leagues. So for once, I've mentioned Kendre on this show before, and it was a pipe dream. And I probably would have told you at the time there was no way he was going to do anything. This time, I think there's a chance, and he's running good. He's healthy. The coaching staff likes him and wants to get him touches because nothing has changed since he was in college, which is when he's got the ball in his hand, he can do some electric stuff. And you saw on that one touchdown he had last week, it's about a 10-yarder or 11-yarder. I mean, crossing the goal line, he was still like separating from the defenders catching him, So, he's got the speed, he's got the health, he's got the faith. So I'm looking for him this week, and I'm looking to stash him for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's definitely a good stash. But you mentioned, this game against the Giants, they're at home. They're actually 1.5 point favorites in this game.
Yeah.
Which, we want to start running backs at home when they're favored. So, you could do worse than a deep dart throw at a Kendre Miller. We got bye weeks and injuries stacking up. So, it's nice to see that he's actually getting opportunities now, because before if he wasn't in the doghouse, he was in the blue tent, and now he's actually on the field, which is
cool. Those are the only two places he lived.
You knew where to find him at least,
right?
But now he's on the field.
He was always in the doghouse. He was never out in the yard.
That's right. Well, now they're letting him play, and he is looking good. He is looking good. So, and maybe. If they are thinking about possibly trading Alvin Kamara, one, they don't want Alvin Kamara to get hurt before they trade him, but they want to make sure that what they think they have in Kendre Miller is what they actually have, and the only way to find that out is to actually play him on the field. So we could get additional touches, especially in a game like this, for Kendre Miller. All right, so let's move on to my third and final sleeper.
And if anybody has any questions, we will get to them after these and before our Flaming Hot predictions brought to you by Cheetos.
we better get a check in the mail from Cheetos.
I hope so.
All right, I'm going to talk another tight end. We kicked it off with your double tight end take, and I'm going to wrap it up with a tight end here, and I'm going to go. This is the guy who I chose instead of Theo Johnson. I'm going to go Mason Taylor of the Jets, the other New York team. I liked Mason Taylor coming out of LSU this year. I thought he was, a complete tight end who can block and catch passes, and the landing spot with the Jets would allow him to have an immediate impact. Now, it's been a little bit of a slow start, but he's run at least 75% of the routes in every game, including 83% in week 4, and his target shares have increased every week, just like we saw with Isaiah Bond. It was 5% in week 1, up to 9% in week 2. Then it was 17% in week 3, which is, a nice area to live for a tight end. But he jumped even further last week to 26% in week 4. He's been second on the team in targets in each of the last 2 weeks. And that culminated in a 5-catch, 65-yard performance against the Dolphins in week 4. That was kind of the green light, like, okay, we're safe to play him now. We can actually put him in some lineups now. And now he gets a matchup against a Cowboys defense that has allowed the most passing yards and the most passing touchdowns through the first month of the season. And Jets Cowboys has that third highest projected total on the week. It's 47.5. Cowboys, they're road favorites, so the Jets are probably going to be playing from behind and needing to throw the ball to keep up with the Cowboys offense that has scored 40 points in 2 of their last 3 games. So if you need a tight end, and maybe you had Brock Bowers or you have Tucker Kraft on a bye week. I'd feel really good about streaming Mason Taylor this weekend. He's only rostered in 10% of Yahoo leagues, so he's probably available on your waiver wire. I'm starting Mason Taylor this week over David Njoku. I'm starting him over Darren Waller. I'm starting him over Harold Fannin, Evan Ingram. The list goes on. I'm all in on Mason Taylor this week, even though he's a Jet. Start your Jets this week, man.
I love how you say Ingram like that matters.
Well, he mattered before the season, and now he's just been a dud.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Taylor's. My tight end rankings coming out of college really drastically differed from most of the other analysts who I read up on, to the point where I was like, do I not know what the fuck I'm talking about?
Yes.
Because I had Warren as my number 1 tight end. I had Fannin as my 2 and Taylor as my 3, and then Loveland. So,
ooh.
I mean,
Wow.
So I was a big Taylor fan and a big Fannin fan. So I'm happy to see both of them doing well. I mean, I'm not doing any victory laps or anything, but
we would never.
When you watch a guy, you watch that much tape, you start to like certain players,
Yeah, he was my tight end 3 as well coming out. Am I the one frozen or are you the one frozen? I don't know who's frozen here. One of us is frozen. On my screen, Sam looks like he's sleeping. And I'm usually the one with internet problems, but I don't know. Someone in the chat tell me, am I frozen or is he frozen? I have no idea. But we got to play Mason Taylor this week. Play your Jets. We do have questions in the chat. Let's get to them. See if Sam wakes up or if my internet comes back. I don't know whose issue it is here, but Tristan in the chat asking, start Jordan Mason or AJ Brown. All right, there he goes. Oh, he's gone. It was him the whole time. It was him the whole time. All right, I got to change the overlay here then. I'll take that bad boy off. All right. Tristan in the chat is asking, start Jordan Mason or AJ Brown. Flex play this week. Now, I did a video that actually dropped today that I do starts, sits, streamers, sleepers, so forth. And my sit of the week, my must sit of the week this week was AJ Brown, which is really, really sad, man. It's rough. I mean, I can't trust anybody in that Eagles passing game right now. They dropped back 11 times in the second half of last week's game. And they completed 0 passes on 11 dropbacks, over 8, 2 sacks. Just it's pathetic. And AJ Brown he's wide receiver 49 in fantasy points per game. He's been outside the top 65 wide receivers in 3 of 4 weeks. He did have that nice, wide receiver 4 finish in week 3, but he followed that up with another dud last week against the Bucs. We saw him cryptically tweeting. He's telling reporters he's unhappy with his role. So maybe we get like a squeaky wheel gets the grease type of game with AJ Brown. I'm not counting on it, but who knows? You never know. But I mean, this matchup on top of everything, all the bad vibes and everything that's going on with AJ Brown, he's going to face Patrick Surtain in this game, possibly the best corner in football. He shuts down just about everybody. And the Broncos as a whole have allowed the 4th fewest fantasy points per game to wide receivers this season, and just 1 touchdown by wide receivers. The vibes are bad. The matchup is bad. The usage is bad. I'm keeping AJ Brown on my bench if I have any relevant player to start instead. So now I know Jordan Mason also has a little bit of a difficult matchup here. The Browns, sneakily, the Browns have been a pretty good defense. They've been a pretty good defense. So I am going to lean Jordan Mason here. I just can't trust AJ Brown. So I don't know if Sam's coming back. I don't know if Sam's coming back. He froze. He lost internet. I have not heard from him since then. I don't know if he died, if he fell asleep. But let's get to if anybody has any questions, let's get to them, because I know we got bold predictions we got to get to. If Sam doesn't come back in a minute, we'll just keep answering questions. I'll give you my bold prediction. We'll end the show. I don't even know what his was to even share it with you, but I got a good one. So Tyler is asking, would you cut Devontae Smith? And at this point, I don't think I would. No, I wouldn't. I'm not ready to do that, because we've seen this Eagles offense go into stretches, maybe not to this extent, but stretches before where the passing game is just not happening. It's just blah. And we got Sam back. He's back. I thought it was me. I thought it was me. I'm the one that has internet issues, not you.
Well, I think the show, I think it had been you, but for some reason on that last one, it showed I was still connected, but I tried going over to another window and refreshing, no dice. So I turned on my hotspot.
Are you cutting Devontae Smith?
No.
Nah, I'm not ready to do it either. I'm not ready.
I'm not ready to cut them, but you have to consider starting to use some of these guys, AJ Brown included. They're no longer in the start your studs category for me.
Yeah.
You need to treat them like a matchup based play at this point.
And this week's a terrible matchup. We got Patrick Surtain, plus the Broncos as a whole. They've given up the fourth fewest fantasy points to wide receivers this year. So,
yeah. Although, did you answer Tristan's question already?
I did. We spent pretty much the majority of the time talking about AJ Brown.
Way to vamp.
Yeah.
What was your final decision?
I went with Jordan Mason. I know the Browns have a difficult matchup this week. I mean, the Browns are a difficult matchup for Jordan Mason, but between Patrick Surtain plus just the terrible situation with AJ Brown, I just can't trust it. Unless he's going to get a squeaky wheel game.
Do you have a third option is my question, But, okay, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I'm not ready to cut Devontae Smith. I mean, it's still – if you cut him and somebody else picks him up and then he goes back to being a Devontae Smith, how stupid are you going to feel?
Right,
And,
exactly.
you're going to drop him for like Malik Washington.
Yeah. This is a guy who's done it year in, year out, over and over and over again. I'm not cutting him yet. It's not a Devontae Smith problem. It's an Eagles problem, and I think they'll get it figured out because they've had similar stretches like this before. Do you have a bold prediction?
A flaming hot one? Presented by Andy Caps?
Yeah.
Do I? Yes. Did you want me to say it now?
Yeah, let's get it.
I would not cut him for Tolbert.
No,
I think Devontae Smith on an average day is Tolbert on his best day. So, right. I know he hasn't done anything for 4 games, but that's what you got to look at in the long term. Can you? I would rather count on Devontae Smith and live with the donut than count on Tolbert.
4 games is such a small sample size still.
So,
all right.
I do have a flaming hot presented by Cheetos bold prediction. Cheetos, you can reach us at yards per fantasy, and please, we will take Tyler, let's get this one because I'm interested to what you say.
Do you remember
this is Taylor and the Browns and the Saints and Giants? It's Johnson if he plays, but doesn't he play like really early?
I'm still going Juwan Johnson, even though I love Mason Taylor this week.
What are the Saints? Are the Saints a Europe game tomorrow?
No.
Okay.
Europe game is Browns and Vikings.
Oh, Browns and Vikings, right? Yeah, I'd go Juwan Johnson if he's gonna play. Yeah. I love Mason Taylor, but I don't like that matchup one bit. Okay, my flaming hot bold prediction presented by Cheetos. They're going to send us a check and free samples. In what will possibly be the lowest scoring game of the week between the New Orleans Saints and New Jersey Giants of New York, Central Park adjacent. Spencer Rattler is going to be a top 5 quarterback this week.
Ooh. I don't know if you're frozen or if I'm frozen. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you, but that's okay. All we need is the voice. We heard Spencer Rattler, top 5 quarterback. I don't know if that's happening. But
he's going to do it with his legs. He'll do it live.
All right. I'm going to give you my bold prediction. Last week, kind of collectively this year, we have smashed on Woody Marks. Woody Marks has been like our guy. That paid off in a big way last week. I think it's going to continue to pay off. I want to present to you, however, the next Woody Marks. And his name is...
Hold on, wait. Before you do it, I just wanted to remind everybody here for any questions we didn't get to, we will be live tomorrow on this same channel at noon for all your last minute starts and sits, injury updates, etc. I apologize, Alex.
Oh, good. Still can't see it, but I can hear you. So the next Woody Mark is going to be Brashard Smith. Down in Kansas City, we've seen Brashard Smith's role grow every week, just like we were seeing leading into Woody Marks' breakout. He played 8% of the snaps in week 2, up to 11% in week 3, and that more than doubled in week 4, up to 26%. And he's got that. He was a college wide receiver. He's a natural pass catcher out of the backfield. I don't know if he's going to take over that backfield altogether, but Kareem Hunt, I mean, come on, it's Kareem Hunt. Isaiah Pacheco looks lost out there. Brashard Smith is going to start getting worked in this backfield more and more and more and more. He's going to have a Jerick McKinnon-like role in this backfield, to the point where my bold prediction is that Brashard Smith leads the Kansas City Chiefs backfield in fantasy points from this point forward rest of season.